Welcome to the month of March. I am citrinechaka. Thanks for watching the video. I have listed on my website the basic summary about what is going on in the planets for March. So you can check out my website, metaphysicalmoonlighters.com. Also, we are putting together a retreat. It will happen in Santa Fe, New Mexico in September. So check out my website. Click on the events tab once you visit the website, and it will take you to the area where you can read about the retreat that we're having. We're going to be doing energy healing. We will have the fee will include access to the sacred site where we will be doing the energy healings, and we will also visit a mineral hot springs during the time that we are spending in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So check out the website, and you can also book the trip on the website. So check that out. So let's go on ahead and get started and see what's happening in astrology for each zodiac sign. We're starting off with Aries. So Aries, for you this month, you will have a pleasant surprise. It's maybe something that a lot of you have been working on behind the scenes. It looks like maybe some Aries have been putting together a charity. Maybe you've been working on investing in oil. This is a perfect month for Aries to invest in oil. And I say that because we will have on the 2nd, we will have the sun in a sextile to Uranus. And the sun is in your area of your life that can deal with oil. The sun is in Pisces. Pisces is a sign that it's a good sign to invest in oil or to do work related to oil wells when you have the sun in Pisces. And it's in a sextile to Uranus. Uranus is in Taurus. Taurus is your area of life that can deal with financial finances, basically. So you put those two together, and this is the perfect time for a lot of you Aries and Aries risings to invest in oil. Okay, you will have a pleasant surprise. So if you have not invested, you might want to step out on faith and just test the waters. Okay. This is also the perfect month for a lot of you Aries to do work related to the paranormal. Like if you are interested in ghosts and paranormal activity, this is the perfect time, because for you, Pisces is in your 12th house. Pisces is your 12th house. The 12th house can deal with paranormal activity. It can deal with ghosts, things of that nature. So on the 2nd, it looks like you will be stimulated by one of those areas. And it could just be you setting up an ancestor altar, because the 12th house can deal with that as well. So whatever you're working on behind the scenes, whether it is something as simple as setting up your ancestor altar, or whether it is something related to investing in oil, it looks like you will be stimulated, and possibly you will have a pleasant surprise. So that's on the 2nd. Now on the 17th, the excitement continues when we have Mercury in a sextile to Uranus. So it looks like you will have some type of stimulating conversations related to maybe your ancestors. You might find out something about your ancestors. You might be doing you might be planning to visit somewhere like an ashram. This is a perfect time for you to visit an ashram or some type of monastery as well. So between the 2nd and the 17th, that is a great time for you to take care of those 12th house matters. Okay, so that's that. Now let's move on and see what's happening for you as far as your friendships and networking. So we start out on the 2nd. We have Mercury in a conjunction to Saturn. This is going to be a perfect time for you to do networking, like critical networking, like strategic networking. Okay, because for you, Aquarius is your 11th house. So networking, anything dealing with friendships, anything dealing with technology, you are going to be thinking very seriously about those topics. And that's on the 2nd. Now, on the 6th, you will find satisfaction in whatever creative activity you've been involved in surrounding networking, or maybe you've been collaborating with your friends. And it looks like you will feel satisfied with whatever you're working on around the 6th, because we have Venus and Mars in a conjunction in your area of your life that deals with networking and friendships. Okay. Now, on the 28th, maybe because of all of the networking you've been doing all month, you are going to want to be alone on the 28th. Okay. So when that time comes up, allow yourself the rest that you need, Aries. Okay. Now, we do have one challenge that you will have to deal with this month, and that is on the 19th and the 22nd. On the 19th, we have Venus in a square to Uranus. This is going to be a bit of a challenge. For you, it's happening in between your friendships and money. So it's something surrounding friendships and money. A lot of you Aries will have to draw the line. You will have to set boundaries. Okay, for you this month, friendships and money really don't mix for a lot of Aries this month. So keep that in mind, because on the 19th we have Venus in a square to Uranus, and then on the 22nd, we have Mars in a square to Uranus. So when Mars squares Uranus, that is a time where you will want to break free from any restrictions. You will want to rebel. So if you have loaned someone money they haven't paid, you are going to want to settle the score, and it won't be pretty. Okay, vice versa. If you have borrowed money from someone around the 22nd, it looks like everything is going to come to a head. So remember, this month for Aries, friendships and money will not mix this month. Okay, so let's move on and see what's happening in your career area this month, because on the 3rd, you are going to be very driven. You are going to be like so ambitious about your career. And that's because you have Mars and Venus in a conjunction with Pluto in your 10th house. This is your Capricorn area. So for you, your Capricorn is in the area of your life that deals with your career or your business or what you are known for in the public eye. And it looks like you will be very ambitious, Aries. Okay, now on the 18th, we have the Sun in the sextile to Pluto. And again, you will feel the need to succeed in your career, and you will be very determined. Okay, now on the 26th, we have Mercury in a sextile to Pluto. And this is a time where you will be doing some intense thinking about your career as it relates to something that maybe you're working on behind the scenes. So just remember that that's related to your career. Now let's look at what's happening in your 12th house, because you have a lot of activity happening in Pisces. And again, for you, Pisces is your 12th house. You might be spending some time in hospitals this month. You might be maybe applying for a job in a jail. The 12th house can deal with hospitals. It can deal with jails. Okay. Um, so let's look at it. On the 5th, you have the Sun in a conjunction to Jupiter. You are going to feel happy and optimistic about your spirituality. Let's just put it at that. You will feel happy and optimistic about your spirituality. On the 13th, you will have an increase in your sensitivity. Everyone of every sign basically will have an increase in their sensitivity. And that's because the Sun is going to be in a conjunction to Neptune. Okay. Now, on the 21st, it looks like you're going to have some good news related to maybe a charity that you've been involved in. And then on the 21st, the 23rd, you are going to be focused on mysteries. This is the perfect time for you. Again, this is the perfect time for you to be involved in paranormal activities or doing some type of research related to something spiritual. Okay, so that was Aries. We're going to move on to Taurus. and see what is in store for Taurus for the month of March. So Taurus starts at about 10 minutes. Okay. So Taurus, let's see what you have in store. So Taurus, this month, it looks like your friends might be surprising you with something. You and your friends could have been working on something, and around the second, whatever you and your friends have been working on, you're going to feel like it is a pleasant little surprise. So you might have been working with one of your friends on something, and they might come to you around the second and break some news to you, and it is going to be a very stimulating type of situation that happens on the 2nd. And then on the 17th, you have more exciting news coming from a friend. So what's happening is you have Mercury in a sextile to Uranus. And this is an energy where you will hear some exciting news. And because your 11th and your first house, your 11th and first houses are involved, it looks like they will have exciting news that will impact you, or it could impact your image, your self-image, okay? But stimulating conversations will be had around the 2nd and the 17th, okay? And it could have something to do with what you've been working on as far as your networking or whatever you've been working on with your friends, okay? So let's move on and see what's happening in your career area, Taurus, because on the 2nd, it looks like you will be seriously thinking about your career around March 2nd. You will have Mercury in a conjunction to Saturn in your 10th house, and critical thinking is the energy of that conjunction. So it looks like around the 2nd, you will be doing some critical thinking about your career. Moving on to the 6th, as far as your career is concerned, it looks like you're going to find satisfaction in what you are working on within your career or what you're known for in the public eye. Okay. And then on the 28th, it looks like you are going to want to take a break from being so focused on your career. Okay. On the 28th, we have Venus in a conjunction to Saturn. And this is an energy where you will want to isolate yourself from whatever house this is happening in. So for you, it's happening in your 10th house. So around the 28th, it won't be a bad idea for you to take the day off. Take the day off. If you have a 9 to 5, it might be great for you to take the day off. If you have your own business, you might want to take the day off around the 28th. Okay? If you work in the public sector, you just might want to just chill and just stay out of the public eye around the 28th. Okay. Now, moving on to the 19th, you do have a challenge to deal with, and it is a challenge related to your career as it relates to your self-image. Okay. There's going to be it could manifest as a bit of a shakeup, because what's going on is that you have Venus in a square to Uranus, and this is an energy that will be challenging the stability of how you feel about yourself and your career. So you might have a challenge that comes up surrounding your career as it relates to your self-image around the 19th. And then it will happen again on the 22nd, because Mars will be in a square to Uranus. And this is going to be an energy where you will want to break free. If there's something within your career that you feel is holding you back, you will want to break free from that. Okay? If there's something in your self-image, like let's say, for instance, you've been working at a job and you have to have your hair styled a certain way, you're going to want to break free from that. You are going to be thinking to yourself, this is not me. Okay? If I have to keep my hair looking like this to keep this job, I might just have to give up the job, or, so decisions will be made around the 22nd, because you are going to want to break free from any restriction that your job is presenting to you, or that your inner dialogue, your self-image, if it's creating a bit of a challenge for you. You're going to find yourself breaking free of that restriction around the 22nd. So let's move on and see what's happening in your area of life that can deal with overseas travel, legal matters, things of that nature. So on the 3rd, we have Mars and Venus in a conjunction to Pluto. Okay, so you will feel very motivated to, if you've been thinking about traveling overseas, or if you've been thinking about interacting with other cultures, you're going to be very motivated and you're going to feel very ambitious about participating in those activities. If it's something related to a legal matter, you are going to feel very ambitious. You're going to feel very motivated about taking care of that issue around the 3rd. And then also on the 18th, you will feel the need to succeed because you're going to have the sun in a sextile to Pluto around the 18th. And this is an energy where you feel the need to succeed. So around the 18th, if you've been planning an overseas trip, it looks like you might be presenting it to your friends, or you might be presenting it to a group that you network with. Okay, so that is on the 18th. Now, on the 26th, we have Mercury in a sextile to Pluto. And this is where you're going to find yourself having deep, intense conversations about what you've been working on as far as overseas travel or legal matters. You're going to find yourself having deep, intense conversations with your networking group or with your close friends. And that's around the 26th. Now, again, you have a lot. Every one of every sign has concentrated activity happening in Pisces. Pisces for you, Taurus, is happening in the area of your life that deals with networking and friends. And also, it could have a little bit to do with technology as well. So let's look at this. On the 5th, you are going to feel very optimistic and very happy about the networking that you're doing. Okay. On the 13th, your intuition is going to be on point. You're going to know who to network with. You're going to know who to contact. Around the 13th, you might find yourself just randomly wanting to contact or speak with someone. And that's because we have the sun in a conjunction to Neptune, and it's happening in your 11th house. So this is the type of thing that happens where you might be sitting down at home and a friend comes to your mind and you call them. And when you call them, they say, "Wow, I was just thinking about you." That's some of the things that happen when the sun is in a conjunction to Neptune. And that's around the 13th. Now, on the 21st, we have Mercury in a conjunction to Jupiter, and it looks like your friends might be contacting you with some good news around that time, or it could be vice versa. You might be contacting your friend to let them know about some good news that you have just heard about. Okay, now on the 23rd, we have Mercury in a conjunction to Neptune, and this is an energy where for you and your friends might be talking about going to watch a movie, a mystery movie, or you might be talking about some type of mystery that comes up around the 23rd. So that's everything I have for Taurus. Let's move on to Gemini. Gemini. All right, here we go. This is the reading for Gemini for the month of March. So Gemini, your career is going to be front and center this month. You have a lot of activity happening in your area of life that can deal with your career or your public image, whatever you're known for. Okay. On the 2nd, we have the sun in a sextile to Uranus. And it looks like you might have a pleasant surprise, or you might have something that stimulates your um awareness related to your career around the second. Okay, so it looks like you have some good news coming to you around the second. And then on the 17th, again, you have Mercury in a sextile to Uranus. And this is an energy where exciting news might pop up surrounding your career. Okay, now let's look at what's happening for you as far as your legal matters or your higher education. Let's look at your ninth house. So on the second, we have Mercury in a conjunction to Saturn. You might find yourself doing some serious research around that time. And the research could be centered around an overseas destination. It could be centered around higher education. It could be centered around um, just something you're working on as far as legal matters are concerned. Now, on the 6th, it looks like whatever you've been working on since the 2nd, it looks like you will be satisfied with what you have found, what you have uncovered, okay? But then on the 28th, it looks like you will not want to deal with any legal matters. If you are working on some type of higher education project, it looks like you are going to want to take a break. And that's because we have Venus in a conjunction to Saturn. And that's an energy where you will want to isolate yourself from wherever that is happening. And for you, it's happening in the area that can deal with legal matters, overseas travel, interaction with other cultures, things of that nature. Now, on the 19th, there's going to be a challenge that comes up related to maybe legal matters or related to what you're working on as far as, higher education. So the 19th and the 22nd, it looks like you are going to want to break free from any restrictions that have come up related to legal matters or related to interaction with other cultures. Okay. So let's move on and see what's happening for you in your area of life that deals with your transformation. So you will definitely be motivated to transform something in your life around the 3rd. We have Mars and Venus in a conjunction to Pluto, and it's happening for you in your area of life that is ruled by Pluto. So you will see an increase in your need for transformation. You will see an increase in your need for, let's say you need a loan. You will be very motivated to submit the paperwork for that loan because the 8th house can deal with other people's money. So you might find yourself around the 3rd applying for a loan or applying for a credit card, but you will be very motivated to fill out the paperwork. Okay. Now, on the 18th, it continues. You will have the need to succeed. Okay. You might be looking at your job and thinking to yourself, how can you transform yourself on this job? You will definitely be determined to see transformation happen in your career around the 18th. Now, on the 26th, we have Mercury in a sextile to Pluto, and you will find yourself in deep thought about your career as it relates to your transformation. Okay. And so let's look at what's happening for you in your area of life that can deal with your ancestors. It can deal with hospitals. It can deal with your spirituality as well. Okay. So on the 5th, you have the sun in a conjunction to um, Jupiter. And this is going to be a feeling of happiness and optimism. And it's happening for you in your area that can deal with your career. Because for you, Gemini, Pisces is in your 10th house. Your 10th house can deal with your career, your public image, what you're known for in your community. So it looks like you're going to be pretty satisfied with what's happening in your career around the 5th. And then on the 13th, that continues when we have the sun in a conjunction to Neptune. Okay. When the sun is in a conjunction to Neptune, it increases your sensitivity. So you might find yourself being a little bit extra considerate of your coworkers around the 13th. And then on the 21st, it looks like you might have some good news related to your career around the 21st. And then moving on to the 23rd, we have Mercury in a conjunction to Neptune. And again, you will be focused on your career around the 23rd. So that's everything I have for Gemini. Let's move on to the sign of Cancer. Cancer, okay. So Cancer, let's see what's in store for you this month. So Cancer, you start the month off with a bit of a stimulating interaction with your friends surrounding cultural activities. So you might find you and your friends might be involved in planning some type of cultural activity, or you might find yourself being interested in going to some type of cultural activity around the 2nd. You might even be planning a trip overseas with your friends around the 2nd. And then on the 17th, it looks like you will have stimulating conversations related to other cultures. It could be stimulating conversations related to what's happening in the world today. Like you and your friends might be sitting down watching CNN together around the 17th. Okay. So let's move on and see what's happening in your area of life that deals with your transformation. On the 2nd, you have Mercury in a conjunction to Saturn, and you will be doing some critical thinking about the transformation you want to see happen in your life. Okay, because this is happening in your 8th house. You might be thinking about a community property situation you have going on. You might hear about the mortgage. You might be applying for a mortgage around that time. So you might be doing some critical thinking about what can you do to get this mortgage. If you are in the market for a mortgage, you might be thinking about that. Some of you will even be thinking about bankruptcy. The 8th house can deal with bankruptcy. It can deal with mortgages. It can deal with other people's money. So around the 2nd, you might find yourself thinking about those topics. Okay. And then on the 6th, you will find satisfaction in whatever you've been working on since the 2nd of the month. Okay. But then on the 28th, you are going to feel like I have had enough of thinking about mortgages. I've had enough of thinking about transformation. You will want a break from all of that, what you've been working on since the beginning of the month. So just keep that in mind, Cancer. Now, let's look at what's happening in your 7th house, because we have Mercury and Venus in a conjunction to Pluto, and for you, it's happening in your area of your life that deals with partnerships. So around the 3rd, you are going to be you might find that your sex drive and your lust for someone has increased. Okay, that is the energy of when you have Mars in a conjunction to Pluto. When Venus is in a conjunction to Pluto, you will have an increase in the love for your partner. Okay, so keep that in mind, because whether you're single or attached, you might feel very motivated to make a move related to your lust for a partnership around that time, Cancer. Now, on the 26th, you will find yourself having a very intense conversation. If you are in a relationship, you and your partner might be talking about marriage around the 26th, Cancer. If you are already married, you and your spouse will find yourself having deep, intense conversations about legal matters around the 26th. Okay, so let's see what else is happening for you in the month of March. So for you, you might really have a lot of legal matters to take care of this month because you have a lot of activity happening in your ninth house. The ninth house can deal with legal matters. It can deal with legal matters, baptisms. You might be advertising something. You might be considering a lawsuit, or you might hear about a lawsuit this month, Cancer. Okay. And again, foreign countries comes up for you as well. You might find yourself researching a foreign country this month. Okay. So let's see. That's everything we have for Cancer. Let's move on to the sign of Leo. All right, Leo, let's see what's in store for Leos this month. So, Leo, you start the month off with a pleasant surprise related to your career. It looks like a lot of Leos are going to be starting a different position as far as your career, or whatever you're known for in the public eye. It looks like you're going to have some type of change happen related to your career, because for you, the sun in a sextile to Uranus is happening between your area of life that deals with transformation and your career. So it looks like you might have a pleasant surprise related to your career in March, Leo. And then on the 17th, it continues with exciting news. You might find yourself having a stimulating, exciting conversation related to your new position for a lot of you Leos. Now, for those of you who don't work, there's still going to be some type of exciting news, maybe related to your public image. Maybe you will get some type of backing, or let's say you are a YouTuber. You might have a company that wants you to advertise their products, and they might be paying you big bucks to do it. Okay, so the possibilities are endless, but it looks like a lot of Leos will have great news related to career or your public image, whatever you're known for. Okay. Now, let's look at what's happening in your partnership area. Okay. Because it looks like if you are in a partnership, whether it's a business partnership or a romantic partnership, it looks like you and your partner will be doing some critical thinking this month. And it looks like you will be satisfied with what you come up with your partner. Remember, this could relate to business partnerships or romantic partnerships. So on the 2nd, you might be doing some critical thinking with your partner. On the 6th, it looks like you and your partner will be satisfied with whatever you come up with. But then it looks like on the 28th, you and your partner will say, you know what, we need to take a break from working on this project, or we need to take a break if it's related to romantic partnership. You and your partner might decide, hey, you know what, let's take a break from being with each other constantly. Not saying that you're going to break up, but let's say you and your partner do everything together. By the end of the month, you two might decide, hey, you know what? Let's do something separate today and then come back together tomorrow. But it's not saying that you will break up with your partner. But that's definitely a possibility, because what's happening on the 28th, we have Venus in a conjunction to Saturn. And this is an energy where, remember, let's look at the planets. Venus is, in general, the planet of love. Saturn is the taskmaster. So you might find yourself around the 28th wanting your partner to conform to your demands. And your partner might be like, you know what, I'm not having that. I'm not doing that today. So you and your partner might be like, you know what, you go over there and do that, and I'm going to go over here and do this today. And again, it's not saying that you will break up, but it can be something as simple as you and your spouse are in the house and you want your spouse to help you fold clothes, whereas your spouse wants to wash dishes. So you and your spouse might say, you know what? You go over there and wash the dishes, and I'll go over here and wash the clothes. Okay? It could be something as simple as that, or it can be something as major as a breakup that some Leos experience around the 28th. Okay? Now, let's look at the 19th. Let's look at the challenge this month for Leo. For you, your challenge is going to be balancing your partnership with your career, whether it's business partnership or romantic partnership. Because remember, you can have a business on the side that could be creating a challenge for your 9 to 5 job. Okay, so that is going to be the challenge for Leos this month, to balance partnerships with what you're working on with your career. Okay, so that is that. Now let's see what's going on for you as far as your health and your daily routine. It looks like you are going to be very ambitious and very driven to maintain a healthy body this month, Leo. You have Mars and Pluto in a conjunction. Sorry, Mars and Venus in a conjunction to Pluto this month in your area of your life that can deal with your health. You're going to have an increase in the need to be healthy this month, Leo, which is great news. Okay. Now on the 18th, it continues when when the sun is in a sextile to Pluto on the 18th. You are going to have the need to succeed in having just tip-top health, which is really great. Okay. So your health looks really great for a lot of Leos this month. And this applies to sun sign Leo and also rising sign Leo. Now, let's look at what is happening for you as far as your transformation. It looks like your transformation this month, it looks like you are going to be very optimistic about the transformation that's happening in your life. When the sun is in a conjunction to Jupiter on the 5th, it's happening in your area that deals with transformation. It can also deal with other people's money. Whatever is going on for you, whether you have applied for a loan or whether you are rearranging credit card balances, it looks like you're going to be very optimistic about it. And this is a good luck aspect for you. Whenever the sun is in a conjunction to Jupiter, this is a good luck aspect. And for you, you will have luck in the area of mortgages, in the area of credit cards, in the area of anything dealing with other people's money. Okay. This is a great time for people to do hair transplants. This is a great time for you to, if you're a woman, this is a great time to have a hysterectomy. If you're a Leo, and Pisces is, your 8th house, this is a great time to have a hysterectomy. Okay. This is a great time to have an organ transplant. If any of you out there are on the list for an organ transplant, you might hear good news about that this month around the 21st. Okay, around the 21st or the 23rd, something like that. This is a great time for that. Also, if you have been waiting to hear back from Social Security, around the 21st or 23rd, you could hear some good news back from Social Security if that's what you've been waiting on. So that's what I have for Leo. Let's move on to the sign of Virgo. And let's see what is in store for Virgo for the month of March. Okay. So Virgo, now after I talk about Virgo, I'm going to play a video about a retreat that we're having in September. Okay. So Virgo, let's see what is happening for you this month. So Virgo, this is a great time for Virgos to make commitments. This month is a great month for Virgos to make commitments, whether it is a business partnership commitment or whether it is a marriage commitment. This is a great month for Virgos to make a commitment. And let's see why. On the 2nd, you have the Sun in a sextile to Uranus. This is a very stimulating aspect. For you, it's happening in your area of life that deals with partnerships, and it also in the area that deals with legal matters. So this is a great time for you to commit to a business partnership or to commit to a romantic relationship on the 2nd. And that energy continues on the 17th when we have Mercury in a sextile to Uranus. You might hear some exciting news related to a business partnership or a romantic partnership. And you can also be having stimulating conversations related to romance, the romantic partner in your life or the business partner in your life. Okay. So let's see what else. Let's look at your health. So it looks like you will be doing some critical thinking about your health this month, Virgo. We have Mars in a conjunction to Saturn. So it looks like something might come under your radar about your health that you need to think seriously about. Okay, Virgo, that's on the 2nd. On the 6th, it looks like you will think about creative ways to improve your health around the 6th. Because when Venus is in a conjunction to Mars in your area of life that deals with your health, it looks like you're going to be thinking about creative ways to improve your health around the 6th. But then on the 28th, it looks like you are going to want to take a break from concentrating so much on your health, because we will have Venus in a conjunction to Saturn, and it's happening in the area of your life that can deal with your health. It can also deal with your daily routine. Okay, you might want to take a break from your daily routine around the 28th. Now let's look at the challenges that Virgos will be facing this month. So on the 19th, we have Venus in a square to Uranus, and it's happening for you in the area of your life that can deal with your daily routine and health as it relates to legal matters or your interaction with other cultures. Okay, so for you, there's going to be a challenge. It could be maybe you have to move to another area of the country and the culture is a little bit different. So you might be trying to find ways to maintain your health. Meanwhile, they might not sell the ingredients that you're used to having. Something like that will come up for you. And then by the 22nd, you are going to want to break free of any restriction that your health is presenting you around that time. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, let's look at what's happening for you as far as romance or kids or a creative project. We have Mars and Venus in a conjunction to Pluto on the 3rd. You are going to be very motivated to have romance in your life, okay? You could find yourself asking someone out. If you're in a relationship, your sex drive will definitely be at an all-time high. You might be romancing your partner, but your need for love and affection is going to be very evident around the 3rd, okay? And then on the 18th, if you are single, you are going to be very motivated to be in a romantic relationship, because at that time we're going to have the Sun in a sextile to Pluto, and for you it's happening in the area of your life that deals with partnerships and also romance. So you are going to want to have a romantic partnership around that time. Now, if it's related, it could be related also to a creative project. You might be working on a creative project with a business partner, and you will definitely be very determined to see that project be a success. Okay, so it could play out in different ways depending on how you look at it. And you have to look at your life and see what's going on, because it could be related to romance or it could be related to a creative project. And it could also be related to you and your partner talking about having kids. Okay, because the fifth house can deal with kids as well. Or you and your partner could be just sitting back talking about what is it going to take for your kids to feel like a success, or what is it going to take for you and your partner to feel like you have succeeded in the way you raise your children. Something like that could come up for you around the 18th. Now, on the 26th, you and your partner will continue the deep conversations related to raising kids or related to romance. Okay, that's around the 26th. And let's see what else is happening for you this month. So, again, this month, Virgos, it's like partnerships are on your mind big time, okay? On the 5th, we have the Sun in a conjunction to Jupiter. It looks like you're going to have a feeling of optimism when you think about partnerships. On the 13th, your sensitivity is going to be increased in relation to partnerships. Okay, so try to take it easy around the 13th, because when the Sun is in a conjunction to Neptune, it increases your sensitivity. And for you, it's happening in your area that deals with partnerships. So related to partnerships, your sensitivity will be increased, and also your intuition will be on point. You might look at your partner and just know what to do or not to do, what to say or what not to say to them, because your intuition and your empathy will be increased around that time. Now, on the 21st, it looks like you have some good news related to your partnerships. It looks like you will be in a happy frame of mind when you think about your romantic partnership or your business partnership around that time. So that's everything I have for Virgo. Let's move on to the sign of Libra. And let's see what is in store for Libra for the month of March. So Libra, you start the month off. We have the Sun in a sextile to Uranus, and this is a very stimulating energy. So it looks like you will be something might stimulate your interest to change your daily routine, or you might be stimulated by something to change something about your health around the 2nd. Okay, and then on the 17th, it looks like you will have exciting news related to what you've been working on since the second of the month. Now, let's look at what's happening for you as far as romance, kids, and creativity is concerned. It looks like on the 2nd, you're going to be doing some critical thinking about a creative project you're working on, or for other Libras, you're going to be doing critical thinking about having children, or it could be critical thinking about something going on with your child. And for other Libras, you could be doing critical thinking related to a romantic situation you have going on, related to romance. Okay. Now on the 6th, it looks like you will find satisfaction in whatever you've been working on since the 2nd. So you might find satisfaction in something you've been working on with your kids. You might find satisfaction in the romance you're trying to bring into your life. You might find satisfaction in a creative activity that you've been involved in as well. Now, fast forward to the 28th. By the 28th, it's like you are not going to want to think about romance. You are just going to want to isolate yourself from thinking about romance, thinking about the kids. It's like you're going to need a break from that by the end of the month, Libra. And let's look at the challenges that you might face this month. So on the 19th, we have Venus in a square to Uranus, and this is going to present a challenge um, for a lot of Libras. And for you, it's happening in the area of your life related to romance, kids, and creative projects. There might be a challenge that comes up around that time that you will have to deal with. And this is happening on the 19th as well as the 22nd. The only thing is that it's like on the 19th, the challenge will come up, but by the 22nd, you will want to break free from whatever restriction this challenge is bringing to you. So if there is a restriction that is coming up related to romance, you're going to want to break free of that restriction by the 22nd. And remember, by the 28th, you are going to want to distance yourself just a little bit from thinking so much about romance, or thinking so much about your kids or a creative project. You're going to want a break by the end of the month, Libra. All right, so let's see what's happening in your home and family area. Because you have Mars and Venus in a conjunction to Pluto happening in your home and family area. So around this time, around the 3rd, you will have an increase in the need for love and affection from your family around the 3rd, Libra. And then on the 18th, you're going to feel like it is great for your health when you have the support of your family. What's happening around that time is that you have the sun in a sextile to Pluto, and this is an energy where you will have the need to succeed. So for you, you will have the need to have a healthy, loving family life around that time. It might sound simple, but this is something that will really come up for a lot of Libras and Libra risings. Now, on the 26th, you will be doing some deep, intense thinking. You might even call the family together and have a deep, intense conversation. And you might find yourself telling your family that it is good for everyone's health when the family comes together and is peaceful and loving to one another. You might find yourself being the family ambassador this month, Libra. Okay, so let's look at your health, because it looks like you have a lot of activity in your area of life that deals with your health and that deals with your daily routine. So it looks like you're going to be very optimistic this month about your health, and you will be very optimistic about your daily routine. You have the sun in a conjunction to Jupiter in your area of life that deals with those things, that deals with health and daily routine. And it looks like you're going to be feeling very optimistic. Okay. And remember, on the 13th, you will have an increase in your sensitivity related to your health. So around the 13th, try not to eat anything that you know is going to upset your digestive system around that time. Okay. And then on the 21st, it looks like you will have a happy frame of mind when you think about your daily routine and when you think about your health. Okay, so that's everything I have for Libra. Let's move on to the sign of Scorpio. I have to write down the timestamps. Okay, we're moving on to Scorpio. So Scorpio, you start the month off with a pleasant surprise. It looks like a lot of you are going to have a lot of romance and passion going on this month. I'm looking at your chart and I'm just seeing a lot of activity in your romance area. I'm seeing a lot of activity in your partnership area as well this month. Okay. On the 2nd, you have the sun in a sextile to Uranus, and this is an energy where romance, partnerships are going to be stimulated for a lot of Scorpios. On the 17th, it looks like you will have exciting news related to romance and partnerships. So romance and partnerships look really good for a lot of Scorpios this month. And you remember, when I say partnerships, I'm talking about romantic partnerships and or business partnerships. So romantic partnerships and business partnerships look good for Scorpios this month. Now, also, let's look at what's happening in your home, in your family area. On the 2nd, it looks like you're going to be doing some critical thinking about, maybe a family situation, or maybe you'll be thinking deeply about a family member around the 2nd. On the 6th, it looks like you might find some type of creative activity for you and your family to participate in. Okay. But then on the 28th, it looks like you're going to need a break from your family. It looks like you'll be spending a lot of time with your family members throughout the month of March, but by the 28th, you are going to want some alone time. Okay, or something could come up that makes you feel a little bit sad, and you feel like, you know what, I'm just going to distance myself from my family for a few days just to, get my thoughts together. Okay, so now, let's look at what's happening in your area of life that can deal with transportation. This is the 3rd house. The 3rd house can deal with transportation. It can deal with advertising. You might have something that comes up related to you having to go and get your birth certificate, or you might have to get a death certificate. You might have to guide someone on, getting some type of certificate, because the 3rd house can deal with certificates. Some of you will have to be renewing your driver's license, or you might find yourself at the DMV for some reason. But the good news is that you will feel very motivated and ambitious around this time. And the fact that it's happening in your 3rd house, it could be related to maybe a sibling or a cousin that you might have to help do these things. You might have to help them find their birth certificate or renew their automobile certification. Something like that could come up. You might also be spending time at the post office. A lot of times the 3rd house can deal with the post office for some people. You might be talking to salespeople. The 3rd house can talk about sales. It can be about salespeople. It could be interacting with salespeople. Now, if you are in sales, the 3rd of the month is going to be a great time for you to make a lot of sales. Okay, because you have Capricorn in the 3rd house, and you have Mars and Venus in a conjunction to Pluto. That is a perfect breeding ground to make sales when it falls in your 3rd house. Okay, you might find yourself spending a lot of time on highways around the beginning of the month as well, Scorpio. Okay, so let's see what else is happening. On the 6th, you might be doing some deep, intense thinking about the topics that I just mentioned: certificates, highways, transportation, commuting, neighbors. You might be doing a lot of deep, intense talking with your neighbors around the 26th, really around the 18th and the 26th. So just keep that in mind as you go through the month, Scorpio. Okay. Now, you also have romance happening for you. You're going to feel very optimistic when you think about romance this month. And your sensitivity is going to be increased surrounding romance. And a lot of you around the 21st will have good news related to romance. Now, I'm saying romance, but the 5th house can be related to romance, children, and creative projects. So overall, related to those topics that I just mentioned, it looks like you are going to be optimistic about those topics this month. And it looks like, remember, your sensitivity will be increased related to those topics: romance, creativity, and kids. Your sensitivity will be increased around that time. But you will hear some good news around the 21st. about one of those topics that I mentioned. So that's everything I have for Scorpio. Let's move on to the sign of Sagittarius and see what is in store for Sagittarius for the month of March. So Sagittarius, it looks like for you this month, there's going to be a lot of activity related to your home and family life. Your home and family life, and also your inner dialogue. So let's start off with the second. The second, you have the sun in a sextile to Uranus, and it's happening between your fourth and sixth houses. It looks like you might hear some good news from a family member about something they've been working on related to their daily routine or related to their health. It looks like they're going to come to you and say, hey, guess what? I have some good news about such and such that's going on with my health, or such and such that's going on with my daily routine. So it looks like a lot of you Sagittarius are going to hear about some good news from a family member around the 2nd. And also on the 17th, you have that same energy when Mercury is in a sextile to Uranus. This is an energy where you will hear some exciting news, okay? And you might find yourself in stimulating conversations with a family member as well around the 17th, Sagittarius. Let's move on and see what's happening in the area of your life that can deal with transportation. This is the area of your life that can deal with short distance travel. We're talking about the 3rd house. So it looks like some of you are going to be planning a short distance trip around the beginning of the month. Like you're going to be doing some critical thinking about how can you put this trip together. Some of you are going to be doing some critical thinking about a transportation issue that's coming up, whether it's commuting, how can you lessen your commute? That might come up for a lot of Sagittarius people. You might also find yourself talking a lot on the phone around the beginning of the month as well, Sagittarius. Okay. But whatever you're working on, by the 6th of the month, you're going to be satisfied with whatever you've been working on. Okay. But by the 28th, you're going to feel like, you know what? I'm tired of thinking about the commute. I'm tired of thinking about trying to get this car registered and, do all of this stuff. So by the 28th, you're going to feel like you just need a break from everything that you've been working on thus far. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now let's talk about your challenges that will come up this month, because the challenges that come up will be related to topics such as commute, highway, transportation, your interaction with siblings and your close neighbors. What's happening is you have Venus in a square to Uranus, and it's happening between your 3rd and your 6th houses. So there's some type of challenge that's going to come up, and you're going to feel like you want to break free from the challenge. So that's why by the 28th, you're going to feel like, you know what? I just need a break from dealing with this right now. So keep an eye on what's going on related to car registrations, related to commuting, related to maybe advertising, or maybe you have to ship something out. That's something else that can come up, because the 3rd house can also deal with shipping things, like dealing with the post office. So something can come up this month where you have to ship something out, and it seems like you just can't get it together. Like more and more items need to be added into the box, and you're just tired of dealing with it by the 28th. By the 28th, you're going to feel like, hey, this is just turning into a bigger project than what I am prepared to deal with. So by the 28th, if you haven't shipped that package out, or if you haven't come up with a solution to your commute, or if you haven't put together an advertising package, you're going to feel like, you know what, I need a break from dealing with all of this right now. So keep that in mind, Sagittarius. So let's see what's happening with your finances, because we have We have Mars and Venus in a conjunction to Pluto on the 3rd, and it's happening in your area of life that can deal with your finances. So it looks like you're going to be very motivated when it comes to your finances, starting at the beginning of the month, around the 3rd, Sagittarius. And then on the 18th, it looks like you will feel very determined to put your family in a very stable situation as far as finances is concerned. And what's going on is that you have the sun in a sextile to Pluto. And when we have that aspect, that is an aspect where we will feel more determined. So for you, being that this is happening between your home and family area and your finances, you will be very determined to bring financial stability to your family. Okay, Sagittarius? And then on the 26th, you're going to be in deep thought about any decisions you've made related to your family's financial stability. Okay, now let's see what else is going on for you. Your home and family, you're going to feel very optimistic about your home and family situation this month because you have a lot of activity happening in your home and family area. And also, just your inner dialogue is going to be very optimistic. You're going to have like a happiness about you. You're going to feel like your well-being, your inner well-being and your family's well-being. You're going to feel like everything is great. Okay, that is for a lot of Sagittarius people. So that's what I have for Sagittarius this month. Let's move on and look at Capricorn. Let's see what is in store for Capricorn this month. All right, Capricorn. So for you this month, there's going to be a lot of activity in your 3rd house. The 3rd house can deal with highways, it can deal with libraries, it can deal with post office. So as I'm mentioning these things, remember these throughout the month because you're going to have a lot of activity dealing with certificates, with maybe agreements, maybe legal agreements, let's say written agreements, because the 3rd house can deal with written agreements. You might be, if you're a teacher, you might be thinking about taking a position at an elementary school. You might be working on a manuscript. Now, if you are in sales, this is a great month for you to make a lot of sales because you have a lot of activity happening in your 3rd house. The 3rd house is great for sales. Okay, so if you are in sales this month, you need to be making a lot of sales. You will be motivated to make a lot of sales, and you will find that you will manifest a lot of sales this month. So that you have a lot of activity happening in your 3rd house. So let's look at the 2nd. You have the sun in a sextile to Uranus, and it's happening between your 3rd and 5th houses. So you will have a pleasant surprise related to something that you're working on. Okay, whether it is a creative sales project, whether it is a manuscript you're working on, whether it's advertising, maybe you're trying to advertise something, you will have a pleasant surprise and you will also be stimulated to work on those things as well. You will have that energy happening on the 2nd as well as the 17th. And in fact, on the 17th, you might have some exciting news related to what you've been working on, related to the 3rd house matters, which could be anything from writing, working on a manuscript, trying to get some certificates together. It looks like you're going to have this is a good month for you to participate in 3rd house matters. Okay, and let's see what else is happening for you. So also finances, you're going to be critically thinking about your finances. On the 2nd, we have Mercury in conjunction to Saturn. This is an energy of critical thinking. And for you, it's happening in your financial sector. So you're going to be doing some critical thinking. You might find yourself moving some money around the 2nd. And then on the 6th, it looks like you will find satisfaction in whatever you've been working on financially. Okay. Now, by the 28th, you're going to feel like, you know what, I've been thinking about money too much this month. I'm just going to take a break thinking about money and finances. So that's by the 28th, you'll be feeling like that because you do have a challenge that comes up on the 19th and on the 22nd. And it has something to do with your finances. So the beginning of the month is great for you to do some critical thinking about finances, to take action related to your finances, because by the middle of the month, there's some type of challenge that's going to come up for you related to finances. And by the 22nd, you're going to want to break free of any restriction that your finances have brought up. And then by the 28th, you are going to want a break from dealing with finances. So keep that in mind, Capricorn. Now, let's look at the fact that you are going to be very ambitious and very motivated when it comes to your self-image, Capricorn. And that's because we have Mars and Venus in a conjunction to Pluto in your first house. The first house is the house of self. It is a house of self-image. It is the house that deals with your outlook on life. So it looks like you're going to be very ambitious about your self-image, about yourself, basically. This is an energy where you are going to find yourself treating yourself, showing yourself self-love. Okay, so that's really great. But you will be very determined this month. You will be very determined to show yourself self-love this month. So that's awesome, Capricorn. And let's see what else is going on for you. Again, you have a lot of activity in your third house this month. But it looks like it is all good energy. On the 5th, you have the Sun in a conjunction to Jupiter. You will feel happy about what you're working on. It could be something related to a commute. It could be something related to transportation. It could be something related to your neighbors, your interaction with your neighbors. Whatever it is related to third house matters, you're going to feel very optimistic about it. And also, your sensitivity is going to be increased. So as you find yourself interacting with your neighbors or interacting with your siblings or driving on the highway to work, your sensitivity is going to be increased. Your intuition is going to be heightened related to those matters as well. Okay, so that's everything I have for Capricorn. Let's move on to the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius. All right, Aquarius, let's see what you can expect this month. So Aquarius, this month you are going to be concentrating a lot on your finances and also on your self-image. Okay, it looks like you're going to have a pleasant surprise, maybe from a family member related to finances. Some of you, maybe your family member is going to surprise you with a gift, or maybe you'll be surprised with money from a family member this month. But whatever it is, you're feeling optimistic about your finances this month. And you could actually have some good news. You might hear some good news about your finances around the 21st, because on the 21st, we have Mercury in a conjunction to Jupiter. And this is an energy where you will hear good news. And for you, it's happening in your financial sector. So it looks like you might have some good news related to finances. And I'm saying finances, but The second house is related to finances. It can be related to your material comforts. It can be related to your income that you're bringing in. So any of those topics, it seems like you're going to have some good news related to that this month. Okay. Now, you will be doing some critical thinking about your self-image, Aquarius. On the 2nd, we have Mercury in a conjunction to Saturn, and it's happening in your area of life that deals with your self-image. So be gentle with yourself, Aquarius, because it looks like you're going to be very critical of how you look. You're going to be very critical about how you are coming across to others this month. Okay. The good news is that by the 6th, it looks like you're going to find satisfaction in maybe something that you've changed or something that you've come to terms with related to your self-image. Okay. And then let's see, on the 19th, you have a challenge that's going to come up because maybe you have made a change in your appearance, and you might have a family member who makes a comment, and it just gives you a bad feeling, and by the 22nd, you're going to want to break free from the feeling that came over you when that family member, or it could be a family member, or it could be someone who is close to you. Someone who is close to you might come to you and tell you something that you will just not take very lightly. I'm not saying you're going to be sad about it or mad about it, but it's really going to hit your heart space. Okay? So that is a challenge that you will have to deal with this month. It is a challenge related to maybe your outlook on life or maybe your self-image, but it looks like you might have a family member or someone close to you might make a comment that really hits you in your heart and makes you rethink things. Okay, that is your only challenge that I see this month. Now, on the 3rd, you're going to be very motivated as far as your spirituality is concerned. It could be related to your spirituality. If you're dealing with some type of addiction, you will be very motivated to clean yourself up, to kind of like get off of those mind altering substances. If this relates to you, remember, this is a general reading, so some of it will resonate, some of it might not. But this is a great time for you to get medical treatment. It's a great time for you to recover from any type of addiction. Okay. Also, this is a great time for you to invest in oil. Anytime we have some good things happening in the 12th house, such as this conjunction, it's a great time for you to invest in oil or oil wells, things of that nature. Okay. Yeah, especially on the 26th, because on the 26th, we have Mercury in a sextile to Pluto, and you will find yourself doing some intense thinking about your spirituality as it relates to finances. Or it could be, you could be thinking about investing in oil, and you could be thinking about how much money can I put into this. If this is you, go for it, because it's happening between your 2nd and 12th houses. The 12th house can represent oil, the 2nd house can represent finances. So you might find yourself thinking about investing in oil around the 26th. Okay, and let's see what else is happening for you. Yes, finances. On the 5th, you have the sun in a conjunction to Jupiter. You're going to feel optimistic about your finances. That is the energy of when the sun is in a conjunction to Jupiter. You feel optimistic. You feel like you have good luck. It's a great time for you to take chances on, winning the lottery, things of that nature around the 5th. And on the 13th, your sensitivity will be increased related to finances or material comforts. So you might be walking down the street and you might see a homeless person. You might find yourself giving them some money because your sensitivity is going to be increased, and it's happening in your second house. So for you, the sun is going to be in a conjunction to Neptune in your second house, increasing your sensitivity towards finances. Okay. And let's see, on the 23rd, well, let's look at the 21st. On the 21st, you're going to feel very optimistic about your finances. And you'll find yourself thinking and focusing on finances on the 23rd as well. So overall, this month looks good for you. The only challenge you really have that's going to come up is you might be very critical on yourself about your self-image, and it won't help your thinking when someone close to you comes to you and says something about your self-image or your outlook on life. So that's the only thing you need to be aware of as a challenge this month, Aquarius. So let's move on to the sign of Pisces and see what's in store for Pisces. For Pisces, wait, 1 minute. Okay, let me get everything set up for Pisces. Okay, yeah, here we go. Now, Pisces, this month is going to be all about your self-image. Again, we have a lot of activity happening in Pisces for every zodiac sign. It's just that it's happening in different areas for each different zodiac sign. So for you, this concentration of energies is happening in your first house this month. So for you, it's going to be all about your self-image. It's going to be all about your outlook on life. Okay. You might find yourself getting a new wardrobe this month, Pisces. You might find yourself redoing your hair, your self-image. This is going to be your focus for this month, your self-image. Okay. And it looks like you're going to be pleasantly surprised, and you're going to be motivated and stimulated to work on yourself this month. It's really great. And let's see, you're also going to be doing some critical thinking about your spirituality as well. Okay. Spirituality, and also you might be thinking about getting involved in some type of new technology as well this month, Pisces. This is a perfect month also for you to visit a monastery or think about booking a trip to visit an ashram in India. Um, Now, let's look at the challenge that you're going to have this month. On the 19th, we have Venus in a square to Uranus. For you, it's happening in between your 12th and your 3rd houses. So you could have something that you're working on. You could have some type of exam that is on your mind that can be presenting a challenge for you. But by the 22nd, you're going to want to break free from any type of spiritual challenge, any type of hospital challenge. If you find yourself in the hospital around the middle of the month, you're going to feel like you want to break free. Okay. Um, so that is the only challenge that you're going to have this month. It's going to be a challenge related to maybe hospitals or jails or wild animals. You might have a run-in with a deer as you're driving home. Something like that could happen as a challenge. Hopefully it doesn't, but it is a possibility, you know. Um, let's see what else. You might you might happen to find out about someone who has like a grudge against you that you had no idea they had that in their mind about you. Because the 12th house, it can deal with secret enemies. So you might find that there's somebody who has something against you and you had no idea they felt like that about you. Okay. Or you might be doing some shadow work and you might find out that there's a certain thought pattern that you have that's holding you back, that you could be holding yourself back because of a thought pattern that you have. So it's all a part of healing. This month is going to be very healing for you because the 12th house is activated and then your first house has so much activity. So your self-image, your outlook on life, it looks like you're going through like a total transformation as far as that is concerned. And let's see what else is happening. So on the 3rd, we have Mars and Venus in a conjunction to Pluto. And it's happening in your area of life that deals with friendships. It can also deal with networking. So you are going to be very motivated to network this month. You're going to be very motivated to socialize with your friends as well, especially on the 3rd and the 18th of this month. Now, on the 26th, you could find yourself in a deep, intense conversation with your friends or with your networking group. Okay, so that's something to remember as you move throughout the month. And again, your well-being, your self-image, your outlook on life is going to be very concentrated. You're going to have concentrated activity in those areas this month. Okay. On the 5th, we have the sun in a conjunction to Jupiter in your self-image sector, and it's all about your well-being. On the 13th, we have the sun in a conjunction to Neptune. It is going to increase your sensitivity. You can be walking around and just know what people are thinking, because when the sun is in a conjunction to Neptune in your first house, your intuition will be at an all-time high this month, Pisces. On the 21st, you have Mercury in a conjunction to Jupiter. This is an aspect where your frame of mind will be very optimistic. You will have a happy frame of mind, basically. About your self-image, because it's in your first house, because everyone will have a happy frame of mind. It will just be in a different area of their life. For you, it's in the area of your life dealing with your self-image, which is the first house. So overall, that's what I have for you this month, Pisces. We're going to end the video with information about a retreat that we're having in September. But everyone, enjoy this month of March. We will be doing chakra exercises, energy healings, and you will get to experience all of the temples at this sacred site. Join us in September. I look forward to seeing you.
Greetings, everyone. Looking behind me, you can see a dreary, overcast day. I came to give you a message about our trip in September. The dreary, overcast day is very similar to what many of us are feeling on our spiritual path. Walking the sacred sites in New Mexico and various other places changes that. It brings a light and enthusiasm. The sunshine comes out in your spiritual path, to your spirit, to your understanding of who you are and what is lying before you. So, thinking about September, I hope to see you there. Take care.